The spectrophotometer is a convenient and straightforward tool for total phosphorus and soluble reactive phosphorus analyses. With practice, it's possible to ready and run over 50 samples in the machine within a day. In this guide, we will explore how to prepare aqueous samples and operate this instrument. Before the analysis, first make sure your samples and standards are appropriately prepared. This process includes, crucially, ensuring that your sample set has a calibration curve that encompasses the expected analyte concentrations, and QA/QCs that ensure the quality of your samples and analysis. Typically, you will need approximately 10 milliliters of combined sample and reagent inside a 20 milliliter scintillation vial. This will allow 2 to 3 sampling attempts by the machine. Once you have prepared your samples, you are ready to use the spectrophotometer. Sophia, our lab manager, will discuss its setup and use.
Alright, so we're going to run our spectrophotometer today. It's pretty easy for startup. You flip the switch here on. The spec is then going to go through roughly 2 minutes worth of internal checks. On this screen you'll see all the checks it's just going to go through, and it will say OK next to it once it's done. It takes about 2 minutes. Yep. So while the spec is going through all its internal checks over here, we can go back over to the computer, open our UV probe software, and this is what it's going to look like. So we can set up our method for phosphorus analysis, and to do that you click this yellow and green M here. It's method. So you're going to choose your wavelength, which for phosphorus it's 880. You're going to click add, then click next, and then here we're just going to choose our wavelength that we just added, which is 880. And that's it. It's very, very simple. These next pages, you can just click next. It's nothing that needs to be edited. And finally here, you're going to choose where you want to save your file. So, and then once you're done, you click finished. This screen's going to pop up. Don't be confused, it says 800 here. That's just sort of the default number it puts in there. So our wavelength is 880, which is here. This is just for if you wanted to add another wavelength. It's not saying that that is your wavelength. So anyway, you can click closed, and that's it for computer setup until the spec is ready to connect to the computer. So after we turn on the instrument, it takes about 2 minutes to go through all of its checks. So when it's done, this is the screen that pops up, and all you need to do is push this enter button down here on the spec, and then we're going to push F4, which says PC control. We're just telling the instrument that we're going to control it via the PC. You can run this instrument without a computer, but we run it with the computer. It's just easier, so push F4, and that's it for the spec setup. So we've already set up our method, and we have already set up the spec to PC control. So now we're ready to click connect, and it is now connected with a wavelength of 880. The first thing you want to do is click reset zipper. You have to click reset zipper only once at the beginning of your analysis at any point. So we can do it right now. If I just try to click SIP right now, it pops up an error message. So you can't actually SIP until you reset the zipper. This is confirm the installation of zipper. It is. And it's going to SIP our DDI. So then after that, you can sip it. The sip function now works. So you want to turn on the spec. We usually do it anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour before you're going to use it at minimum. So the spec can sort of warm up and be ready for use.
Once the spectrophotometer is ready for use, produce the calibration curve by clicking the standard table, filling in expected concentrations, and sipping standards. Once a standard has been sipped, click Read Standard on the bottom center of the screen. Once the curve has been conducted and passes, click the sample table, add your sample names, sip the appropriate samples, and read analyte concentrations. A few quick tips. The spectrophotometer sips the samples through a tube initially found in a flask of DDI water. To get accurate results, make sure the sipper is obtaining liquid only. If many air bubbles are present, redo the sip. This is one of the reasons it's important to make plenty of sample solution at the beginning of the analysis. In addition to samples, make sure the DDI flask and waste container are at proper levels. Every few samples, or between a high and low concentration sample, perform 3 or so sips to ensure the baseline of the machine remains around 0. If this does not occur, make sure the blinds around the machine are closed, as this may affect output. If this does not fix the reading, reset the machine with the Auto Zero function. Once sampling is complete, sip DDI water 5 times and disconnect the device. In the next video, we will review how to process total phosphorus data collected on the spectrophotometer.